You've made it to Talking Mushroomies with Kristen, Danielle, and Michela.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Hello. Welcome back. Actual talk show host. And we're live. Maybe we can cut that part out. Anyway,
that was cute. I love that. That was so cute. I love that.
No cuts this episode.
Respect. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Talking Mushroomies.
Ow.
My name's Kristen. This is
Danielle.
And I am Michela.
And we're super excited.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute for us. Yeah, we've been taking a week-ish off. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we're starting to post every other week.
Yeah.
It's necessary and good for
our
everybody.
sanity.
So yeah, let's get into it. Today's topic, we're going to talk about navigating your 20s. We're clearly not done with our 20s because I'm 25. Michela's
25. Why did I have to think about that? I went completely blank. I was like, wait, am I 24 or 25?
I'm like, right?
Short-circuiting.
Glitch in the system.
We're going to be glitching.
Anyways, we're mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
We're not out of our 20s, but we realize how significant they've been in our life. And I was kind of sharing with you guys, like, I didn't even feel like I existed until then.
You were 22.
Yeah, like Kristen, I don't know who the fuck she was until early 20s.
Yeah.
So we thought it was a really relevant topic for us and just for anyone who might be going into their 20s soon.
Yeah. Or just people that are in the midst of this, what I feel like is a kind of chaotic
It's the most
time.
chaotic time of your entire lives. Like, every adult that you ever speak to is like, don't try to figure it out in your 20s
True.
because you won't. You just
Yeah.
simply won't. Like, every
Yes.
day you face like this new challenge and you're like, whoa, like, how do I tackle this one? Like,
Right, because it's so
just a
much like,
new
who am
thing.
I? Because it is this like, but who am I in this world
Yeah.
that I'm experiencing? But so Kristen, I'm really curious personally about how your mid-20s have differed from your early 20s, because you're saying how like you didn't even feel like you existed, so like you basically like birthed as a
Blossomed.
human as soon as you hit your 20s. But like, yeah, how have your mid 20s like differed from your early 20s? Because I think we've talked about like that early 20 like discovery before on like past episodes,
Right.
but like now being like in the midst of your mid 20s, like how does
Totally.
that compare?
I can always throw in self-love, of course, but I think my biggest thing was growing up, I didn't really know what I liked and didn't like. This kind of had to do with like our hobbies topic and how I was just very easily influenced by the people I was around. And yeah, I liked whatever the people around me liked.
Easily influenced
Yeah.
in your early 20s.
So when I finally started to grasp things that I enjoyed and like associated them to my identity, I'm still like trying to figure out how healthy that is, because like I know there's a point of
how
like
healthy what is?
like attaching things to your personality or like,
Like
to your
saying like,
person.
I am like this thing. Like,
Because it's almost
personality
limiting,
trait. Yeah,
but then it
yeah.
also like forms your personality, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing in this world that we live in right now. Like I know there's so many ways I can go down that, but I think overall it just helped me form my personality, and it helped me find things that I like wanted to be. Like I want to be a blank person, like a nice person. So therefore it's going to influence the rest of the things I do. But before it was like, I don't know what kind of person I am. Like I'm 16. I can't tell you if I'm a nice person. I don't fucking know. Like I'm doing everything all 16-year-olds are doing, you know?
Yeah.
So I think my biggest thing was forming my personality, and I was able to finally do it in my mid 20s because I was alone and I was fully listening to myself, and there was no like hidden voice, even of like the people I was surrounding myself with, that was influencing me. So I guess less influence, more personality.
Well, like you're feeling more like grounded in like your personality and who you are now than you were in your early 20s.
Like associating things to my name feels so much more comfortable now, and like I could be like yep, no, or like it just feels like more clear of like a yes or a no versus like a few years ago before my 20s or even my early 20s where I'd be like maybe like that could associate with me but kind of not. But now it's like no, this is what I associate myself with, or this is how I associate with myself.
And you've
Kinda
kind
broad.
of like figured out what you want to associate with yourself with, which
Yeah,
has
where I wanna
guided
spend my
you to
time.
like where you are now,
Which is like
what
shedding
you-
of friendships and like the like what you associate with, like where you're willing to like put your energy into is like shifted a lot.
And that kind of it makes me realize like my path was so confusing prior to knowing this. Like early 20s and before, there was like 70 paths I could choose from, and it was always like, which one are you going to take? But as I like refined the paths and I've got closer to my now 25.
Refine the path.
Well, I also think, dude, in your early 20s, it's like, okay, so you can take a million different paths. So which one do you want to take? So you finally, like, the world is finally in your hands, and it's like, what do you want to do with your life? Who are you? What are your hobbies?
Yes.
Who are the people you want to surround yourself with? What do you want to do for work? How do you want to make money? Like,
There's like a clear,
and it's the most fucking confusing thing of your entire life.
Yeah,
like,
because people are always asking you these questions. We
dude,
know
you meet
why
anyone
we
and they're
hate.
like, hey, like, what do you do for work? Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what I want to do.
Well, like even I'm thinking like Thanksgiving. Like you go see
Oh,
your family
God,
and they're
dude,
like,
the
so what are you
holidays?
doing with your life? Like your 20s, the family stops asking you that at some point. But it's like, it doesn't matter what you end up doing. It's just like the 20s are when you expect things from people. People have so much expectations on 20-year-olds and teenagers where it's like, yeah, what are you going to do with your life? You're going to have it figured out by the time you're 30,
the
right?
expectation, the expectation that like our society kind of puts on us, like after we
Yes.
graduate college, you know, if you like decide to go to college or
Right.
whatnot, there's just so much like external pressure, and you're just constantly bombarded with other people's like perceptions, perspectives of what you should
Wishes
do.
they wish they had
So it's like,
done.
what do, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's so
because I'm thinking about it. All of our parents at our age were probably having us, or thinking about us, or married, or
That
doing all these
generation
things.
was having kids and getting married at like 18 to like 24,
Right.
and it's like now we're like,
right.
no, like,
but
don't wanna
I
take
believe
that
they were
path.
still having the same realizations personally.
Wait, but I don't think that they had like, cause yeah, my mom was literally like had me at 24. I'm about to be 27.
Bitch.
Like, yeah. So
Really?
like
My mom
my
was a
mom
little
was
different, I guess.
24. So
My mom
she
was
was married
32.
though.
So my mom was married for like a year at this point. I mean, granted, like she also had just come to this country. Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Insane. And that's where I'm like, oh, like you don't have the freedom and like accessibility and ability to figure out your path, because guess what? Bam, you got pregnant, like, and you're poor and you're an immigrant and you don't have many options. Like there is
Well,
nothing to figure out. There is nothing.
Do you believe though that her like how do I word this? How we've talked about, you basically like unlock at 25, prefrontal cortex or whatever
Finishes
involved.
developing.
My
But
brain
it
is fully
feels-
developed now, bitches.
Yeah, it feels as if we've like quote unlocked. Do you not think your mom had that same unlocking just with kids, like in a different light? Like, do you think she was truly unlocked before having kids? Is that why she had them? Like,
No, I think
because I feel like
She's
the
only
20s
just now unlocked. Because like, okay, I think we need to define what you mean by like unlocking. So maybe let's like go
maybe
back
just
a
by
little bit.
recognize she was pretty sure of herself. I'm
No.
assuming to have kids.
No, that's not,
Enough to
it was
have
not
it.
planned.
Okay,
Danny was
whatsoever.
an accident.
Yeah, that was not planned at all. And like even my mom and dad's relationship, like how that all like ended up working out and then them getting
Right.
married. Like, no, that was, my mom never had this like plan. She always knew she wanted to be a mother, but it was never like a plan. She never knew that she was like where she was going to be my dad when she was like,
Yeah.
and it all happened so quickly. Like, no. So, and I think a lot
maybe
of people's
we should define
lives,
unlocked then, because
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think so.
talking about that at all.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
saying
so.
like relevancy to self. Like maybe she wasn't open and unconscious or like conscious and like self-loved all the way, but like the 25 of, even though she had kids right now, she was still going through these insights of like, okay, this is my reality. I have had kids. Now I have this clear path. Like no matter what it is, I'm just thinking that
Like,
because
having
you're
a
on your
child
own for
had-
the first time, your 20s are the first time you're choosing yourself. Nobody else is making decisions for you. That is, unless if you have like abusive parents, abusive partners, like people that you put yourself in these positions. But again, you chose. So like it's the first time without your parents choosing for you. And even if it seems as if someone else influenced you heavily, you still have some degree, because it's like you're by yourself.
I'm picking up on this because
I think I'm saying like adult.
no,
Does that make
sense?
Because when
I'm getting what you're putting down.
No, what I'm also realizing right now is like I've fully been just like thinking of this in the in the perspective of like it of me personally, how I'm navigating my 20s, not like thinking of like what are the 20s like about for everyone, which I have a little bit, but like when I actually try to think of it through the perspective of like my mom's path, that is kind of like throwing me for a loop of like, holy shit, yeah, I mean, like where was my mom's mind when she was in her 20s? Like,
well, if you're a completely different place than where you're at.
Yeah, it's very different, but that's where I'm like, I'm trying to like relate to it and trying to like figure out, okay, like what about like my like what about my mid-20s or my early 20s and navigating it is something that is relatable or similar to like other people's like 20s and stuff, because obviously everybody is on like a very different path, but I understand what you're saying. And yes, like it was definitely like my mom was coming to this country by herself in her 20s, like wanted to leave her whole family, like wanted to leave all that behind. She was over being under the rule of her. Yeah, she chose to come here.
Because it's not fully independence. I mean, to a sense, yes, that's how we got here, but and it's not adulthood, because like that can be anything. It could be 16. But like, what is that source of like wanting to get away from home and experience life on your own? That seems to come in your 20s. Like there's finally this like sureness that you can go
you can make decisions for yourself for like the first time in your life.
Well, I think in terms of psychology and like in terms of like your development, there is like at the age of like it's happening while you're in like the midst of like the peak of your puberty. So like when you're like 14, 15, 16, that's when you start to feel this like drive towards like independence, and you want to start like separating, and there needs to be this like healthy separation between child and parent. And so for a lot of people who are in like, you know, are in difficult situations or don't have really family and end up having to like really be on their own. A lot of people in their fucking teenage years,
they start that early.
And that's why like you can have babies by that time, because like way back in the fucking day, like what the family structure is now and how we develop is very different to like our own psychology. So like it's natural that, okay, once we're at 18, the system essentially graduates us out of school, right?
And then we go into this way.
Yeah, and then it's a full like that's why it is like a really trippy
it's like
system
they
of
want
age.
us to just go through all the chaos like in our 20s.
Who is they?
I don't know. The fucking whoever's running whatever's going on. I have no idea.
Them.
Oh my god. No, but
what were you gonna say?
No, like just like the whole process, because you're asking like, okay, at what point is there like, do you become this adult, or like what is coming from this like your like this desire of curiosity and wanting to become your own person and wanting to leave your parents and like wanting to go explore.
I think that's just also a natural it's a natural part of life.
It's a natural evolution.
And
would you
exactly
guys term that sense of self? Because that's like the closest thing I could term it to. Like,
I think
sense of self, I had no idea what that was pre 21, 22.
Yeah.
And like I'm still figuring it out, but it's the most clear it's ever been, and it's only started to clarify in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like,
well, also
that's what I would associate.
We put a quote down and we said, I've learned everything from 20 to 25. I wouldn't say everything, but I've definitely learned a fuck ton within those 5 years.
Maybe it's like things that I've learned through myself, because I learned so much through other people pre 20s.
Yeah,
but
it was so external.
I mean, I would say like,
this is tough. I'm like,
this is trippy. No, that's why this is like, it's very much of just like us like reflecting right now, which I really like, and this is cool to just like kind of experience live.
You see how confusing it is. Clearly, we're trying to put it.
We're like trying to. Like,
that's so true. Damn, but I mean, and it's just I keep going back of feeling like wanting to think about it from the perspective of myself, but then also wanting to like zoom out and like understand it from like society's perspective.
And I guess you're right about it being very specific. It is hard to group that.
Yeah, but I think we all can resonate with each other that I think in terms of like the difference of the my early 20s from my mid 20s, it's also kind of like biased and strange, because my early 20s, I was like fully invested in relationship. Like I was like with someone during my entire early 20s, and it was only until I hit my mid 20s, I've been single. Like I haven't been in like a serious relationship throughout my entire mid 20s, which is kind of crazy to think about.
You know what I think of when you say that? It's because, okay, so after we graduate high school, we go off to college, so we don't have our parents anymore. So then there's like this like codependency that we're still kind of seeking. So honestly, everyone, I mean, when I was that young, I was constantly seeking like relationship, like someone date me, someone love me, so much external shit.
Holy
and if you
tell me who I am,
and if you talk to like, if you like, I don't know, you guys know when you were in college, like most of your friends like had boyfriends like at the very beginning of college, and then slowly as they gradually like got further into their 20s, it was like, oh, like wait, I'm finding myself, I don't like this person anymore, you know what I mean? So that's the beauty too of your mid 20s, I think, is because your early 20s, you're so lost and fucking confused, you're like, who am I, like I don't know what to do with my life. But I think as you journey further into your 20s, like there's this sense of deep trust that kind of comes with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, even people who I know and like who are in relationships who have actually like I can't think of like the phrase in my mind of just like could stand the test of time. Like for my friends who had like relationships, in my sister who went from like their early 20s and now are in their mid 20s in their relationships, like there is like they've had to go out and like find themselves, but within the container of their partnership.
I was literally just about to ask if you guys think that's possible.
Dude, like I know people who have been together with their partners since they were like 16 and 17 and they're like 25 like now. I'm like, you guys have been dating for almost 10 years.
They're different people, but they've committed.
But they've also,
I'm like, damn.
that has to be a really special connection to grow and evolve and transform through this era. No expectations. Like you are you, I am me. We are together in this partnership, but we're both gonna change and grow. And I hope we can like come back
evolve together. Because guys, we were literally talking about this like on our walk when we were like, yo, like getting married for like your entire life. Like that's
it just has to be someone really fucking special.
And that's where it would be like really cool. I mean, because like just to be able to have that experience of like evolving in a relationship, because like that's essentially what needs to happen in a long-term relationship. You have to keep evolving together.
You guys saying this is making me literally think that most people meet their significant others in their 20s or start the relationship in their 20s.
I think the majority do. I mean, the majority
like your serious partnerships, I think definitely come in your 20s.
Without a doubt. And even like I have a bunch of like friends that I'm even thinking of that didn't really have much serious relationships throughout high school, didn't really have it much in their early 20s, but then as soon as they hit their mid 20s, bam, then they found someone who they're still with years later. And so and I think just coming back to what you've said, Kristen, of just like your sense of self is so much of what your 20s is and exploring has been about for me, because and it has like, and just my mid 20s compared to my early 20s, like my early 20s were also super chaotic, very codependent, whether it was on best friends, partners, my parents, like just incredibly codependent, like just like trying to seek independence as much as I could, but like in reality I don't think I actually was. Like I kept thinking that I was, but in reality I just wasn't. And then once I hit like, and then that's when back to like what your quote was all about, of just like I didn't even exist before I was fucking 20, which is like true. I was just like this fucking little like blah. I don't even know. And
you're literally like a shadow,
like
just like like following other people.
Oh shit!
Like you are literally other people's shadow before
until it finally sticks. It's like that's a good way to
find it. And then you like
light.
Find like your place in the world, and you're like, wait, hi, like who are you?
Oh my
like,
god,
you know what I mean?
That is a really good way, because I mean, my dad would always say this, but he would always just like call me like a follower. Like, and I've always felt like I was a strong leader, but like he would always call me a fucking follower in high school and stuff, because I was very like influenced by peer pressure and things like that. Because
so was everyone though. At
my
that
dad
age.
told me that I influenced people too much. I was like,
dude, because it's fucking classic Leo energy. You run the show.
My dad was like, you're gonna get all your friends in trouble. I was like, Dad,
they
gave me the idea. Like, come on, we're all gonna get in trouble together.
That is so funny that your dad was like, you're the one that's conspiring.
My friends' parents I would always go over to their house, say hi, minimum. They'd be like, I know that's the troublemaker. I'm like, what the fuck?
Dude, you were such the troublemaker in high school. I could so see that.
Do parents see
that?
I could
just like so
well,
see
you know
me.
No.
Yeah. So were you the troublemaker?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's the only thing that gave me life at that age.
That is so funny. Oh my god,
I was ready.
Yeah, but I want to touch on like just like my mid-20s a lot more because I'm about to step into like my late 20s.
Danielle's birthday is in like a week and a half. Yeah, she's 27. 27.
Yeah, dude, and I've like never, and I think the reason why I'm so blessed and privileged that like my 20s has been about like finding my sense of self and like being able to like create safety and security for myself and stability. And like, I think that's literally what my entire mid-20s was all about, was just like searching for stability, searching for security, like, and realizing that I wasn't going to find that by like finding it in another person. Like I fully realized just like, okay, I mean, I'm in this as much as like I for years or just was just like looking for like, oh my God, relationship. Cause I was just like literally just dying for some, what do you need?
The pen and paper.
But I was just like seeking relationship because I just wanted guidance. I wanted just like someone to tell me who I was. And I kept thinking that I was going to find that in a relationship. But in reality, like I have fully found that on my own with like teachers and mentors and investing in myself and finding beautiful, incredible people to surround myself with to help me like solidify that. Well, I guess, wow, yeah, I literally am just saying that I was looking for people to help me find
it's
my
really
sense of
confusing
self.
because it's like, okay, no, it's about me being independent, but then it's like, no, it's about me finding friends, and it really is
through
this
the journey. You can't do it alone.
I guess clarifying is the best way to put it, because you're not quite going one way or the other. You're just like
clearing
understanding,
the way.
and clearing all the shit that was there before of like confusion. Like it's so trippy to think about.
Dude, your 20s, like clearing the shit, because it's like we've basically been raised by parents in a specific neighborhood with a specific family in a specific school, being so influenced and told this is how you should live your life.
Box.
Yes,
this specific box.
Yes, and then your 20s, when you break out, then but like for me, it's like, oh, I'm finding my way back to specific belief systems that I was told were the right thing.
But now you're choosing.
But now I'm full.
Oh, like, choice. Wait.
Yeah, your 20s is a fucking choice.
Damn, it's just all about. That's why it's so overwhelming and so inundating and so like heavy, because it's like, fuck, I have to make choices all the fucking time,
dude.
There's such, and again, it's the balance of like freedom of being able to choose, but then the burden of having to choose. Like there's this, and that's what all we're doing is teetering back and forth. Fuck. We're literally balancing in our 20s. I feel like handstands. I just like get it. No, but actually going back and forth from like, oh, was that too much? Have you talked about this? Where we're like, oh, I lean this way, and then I realize like, no, a little too much. Then you go the other way, and you're like, oh no, and then you go back and forth until you find like what your perfect,
your
like,
equilibrium.
Yeah,
I'm like envisioning like a seesaw.
Yeah,
yes.
You know what I mean? Just
figuring out everything.
Too much. All right.
Yeah. Damn, that's so good. But you're right.
The chakras.
Oh, literally. But like the mid-20s.
One sip of coffee.
I know. We're all just like, we're all so excited about this.
Yeah, we geeked up. We got geeked up.
But just like to round out that point, because I want to hear about Michela's, is like, yeah, you're literally just like trying to step out of this box, creating your own box. And then for me, at least through my mid-20s, it was like, okay, so maybe some other things that like my parents were sharing with me and like were experiencing on their own, like, okay, that does feel right for me, because I went searching and seeking and testing out different things and exploring different like just belief systems and different ways of living, and just like to find what resonated and what felt right to like my nervous system and what felt right to me. And now I'm in this place of like, okay, I think I got it down. This is like, nice. I'm good. And now I'm feeling just so liberated and so like inspired to just start building and nesting and creating from this place.
Maybe that's the part of like the late 20s, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're just now starting to feel that way after like going into 27, which is your late 20s. You know what I mean? So maybe that's like, yeah, okay. So early 20s, who the fuck am I? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And then like mid 20s, you're like, okay, I'm like finding myself. I'm finding my passions, my people, my work. And then late 20s, it's like, okay, I'm gonna like nest down, like
and
I
start
feel
building
good,
on that.
and I want to grow in this space.
Ooh, great summary. I resonate.
Quick cue.
Kristen just like being like quiet and humble.
You guys are making me think of like, okay, you have insight to share for the first time ever. Do you feel like your mid-20s are recognizing that you finally have experience, insight, and knowledge to give to others? Like, it's to the point where it's like, okay, I've learned things, and now there's this point of like, oh, I can share. Like, I actually have knowledge to share, even if it's a little. I feel like that has a lot to do with like maturing adulthood and sense of self, because you wouldn't share something you're not, or you shouldn't share something
I
and
definitely
teach.
did, bitch. I've been that person.
I mean, like
forever.
teaching. Like, if you're saying I want to be a teacher for you, if I want to teach you yoga, if I want to teach you a workshop, like I'm pretty fucking good at what I'm doing. Like, I'm master level, or you should be. To be able to teach something, you have to know it fully. That's just the way it works. If you don't know it fully, there's no way you can teach it, because you're teaching half of something. I learned that somewhere in one of my it was like a math class.
But I also do have to piggyback on that, because I think you learn a lot through stepping into a space that you're not very familiar with. And then you get feedback, you learn of like what you fucked up on, and then you take that like knowledge and you're like, okay, well, how do I integrate this so I can like become better at this? And then the more you practice and the more you like perfect that thing, you become better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's always room to grow better. I guess what I'm saying is like associating it with your 20s, I never felt like I had knowledge to share, or that I was knowledgeable on any topic until my early to mid 20s. Like, that was the first time that I was like, someone should hear what I have to say. Like, I mean, like, this podcast is what I was thinking of, because like we actually sat down, we're talking in our living room kitchen and thinking, we want to share this with people. Why would that be relevant, you know? And like pre-20s
experience.
Yeah, and I feel like that has to do with sense of self, like experience. I don't know, something about like sharing information that you have, like wanting to share it. I never had anything relevant to share until or like to teach, or to like knowledge, what's the word I'm looking for?
Wisdom to share.
Kind of,
knowledge to transfer to other people.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that. Yes, you should be a master, but masters are never done learning. Like that, because what you're saying is so true. Like you can never be, quote,
the best, perfect,
like
in every shape or form.
Yeah, I'd be a little concerned. So maybe
mastering is the right word.
I don't think the 20s is anything about mastering.
No.
Yo, that's why I'm like,
this is like the fucking beginning of the journey.
Rookies.
It is
Right.
the beginning.
But that's what I mean. It's the very first time
that
we've ever felt like we had to share
like you're
something.
on a journey.
That it's like, this
like
is
a journey
this
to
is
yourself.
Right? Like this, you could do this too. Like, let me help you. Let me show you. Like, first time you taking the support. Well, I guess that's relative, because if you had to step up way earlier. Anyways, it was my first time wanting to share info.
I think it's a lot really relative, because I'm thinking of people a lot earlier or older than us that are even like, that are like, well, I still don't have my stuff figured out. I still don't have I still don't have my people, and they're in their 30s and 40s. Like, I don't. So
I hate to put like an age number
on it. This is so hard.
But like,
so
listen, I honestly don't think you will ever have it all figured out.
That's the beautiful thing about this life.
But the thing is I think that you just get better at learning how to navigate the challenges and things that you're faced with. For sure. You know, you like you better your relationship with those things, so you can like move forward at a better pace.
Totally. Yeah. Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, like you're never like
instead of writing,
everything's not always gonna fucking be perfect. And I think we have this like subconscious idea that like we're gonna like reach this like mountaintop and just be like, oh, like everything's great here. Yeah, but I don't think it.
No, that's a good point to bring, because when I'm saying master, it sounds a lot like there's nothing else you could learn from it, and it's not quite what I mean.
No, but I still understand. Like we're sharpening our tools.
Yeah.
Like I feel like okay,
It'll
maybe
only
this is
get better.
Like like I feel like maybe the 20s is like where we're acquiring our tools.
Yes.
Totally.
It's like where we're acquiring the tools of like how we want to move through the world, how we want to progress through life. Like that's literally what we've talked about these entire podcasts. It's just like, what are all of the tools that resonate with us, whether it's your belief system, whether it's your practices, whether it's your interests, your people, like what you're deciding to invest in. Because I think your 20s is when everybody's deciding, okay, do I want to go to school? Do I want to refine a craft? Do I want to learn a instrument? Like there's so many things. Just like, what are the tools that I want to like acquire to then carry me throughout my life? Like, and at least I think that's a healthy mindset to have of like what to prioritize in your 20s is like creating your toolkit. And then depending on like how ahead you get in that, then is when you can start really sharpening the tools that you're like, okay, these have been working for me. Okay, now let me continue to sharpen these and like and then refine.
Like we're getting the tools 20s, and then mid and late and 30s is like refining the rest of your life. I mean,
and like we're all moving at different paces too. So it could be like,
I guess the best thing to highlight throughout this whole thing. Just different paces, different ages. But for us, our experiences in our 20s.
Yeah. Because we all are the same thing. You want your thing louder?
Yeah. Because I'm like so much lower.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Better?
So much better.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah. I've been taking notes about what I want to share about.
I want to see
what was the question again?
Like what have been like the big difference? Like what is the difference? Classic. Like how would you compare your mid 20s to your early 20s?
So honestly, what I wrote down was my early 20s. I was trying to escape myself through going after and chasing the people / things that took me further away from me. And that popped up.
I knew Michela was going to give some
because
shit.
Dude, I had absolutely no sense of self, and I was doing just the classic what most people do, doing everything to like literally run away from themselves. And I was just constantly running because I didn't want to face my fears, my trauma, the discomfort. Like I didn't want to face any of it. So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to go after these relationships. I'm going to go after like these types of jobs that are just so out of alignment. So I can just like not face myself. Cause I know the second I face myself, that's going to be like the most painful thing ever. And I'm not ready for that healing. And like I wasn't ready for it. That was like what I had to do. You know what I mean? But my early 20s were totally just doing anything and everything to just completely escape myself. And I like realized that and I wrote that down. I was like, ooh. But I also want to touch on, honestly, a really big awakening point for me was when I had my ego death on LSD. That was like,
that'll do it.
Dude, I just remember after like I had that ego death, I was like, what the fuck? Like there were like shifts in my consciousness that had completely taken over like after that experience.
So this is what I get confused about. Ego death, personality. Why are they different? How could they even be different?
So I think your ego is just like your sense of self, your identity, right?
I literally used the term sense of self.
Yeah,
so
how
can we make it so it's not how are we for sure we're the ones choosing that? You know what I'm saying? Because it's so easy to assume the way that everyone else throws these projections on you and expectations, and it's like, no, this is really me. But it's just who you've been around your whole life.
Yeah, so you have no other. It's like this idea that you might have of yourself.
Maybe it literally is you having to get away, experience yourself, even if it's similar, just like displacing yourself from that box you've been in your whole life because you're blinded.
Oh my God.
Anyways,
that's why we all no way, but that's always why we want to move, and that's why you guys have loved to travel, and that's why you love solo traveling and to pull yourself out of the box that you've been in, because you're like, I think there's more to this.
There's more to this.
And like people wanting to experience the mind expanding drugs, or people wanting to like dive deeper into their religion or their belief system,
just
because you're
questioning
like,
in general.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I think so that was early 20s, mid 20s. How have they compared to early 20s? I mean,
I just got into my mid 20s.
We just let you in the club. But the things that have happened since you've turned 25, the realizations that you've had.
Yeah, like there's been, I mean, I'm like fully shifting into like my big girl shit. Like I'm realizing like a lot of things that I want and like things that I want financially and like how I want to set myself up for my future. I think that's honestly been the biggest shift given I've been 25 for like 2 months. But
I think 24 is part of your mid 20s.
Yeah,
so
I think 24 is too. But like I'm just like really starting to think about this like path that I want to pave for myself moving forward. And I think a lot of like my early 20s was like trying to figure out what the path even looked like for me. But now my mid 20s feels like I'm more sure of what I want out of life and how I want to like curate this experience for me. And it feels refreshing. And although it's like, oh, I have to work towards this, I have to like actually take the steps and the actions to get there, it's not so intimidating anymore. It's more like I can do this. It's like this sense of confidence of like I am stepping into like my womanhood. Like I am this, you know what I mean?
Is it the clarity of the goal?
Yeah, I think things used to just be so up in the air for me of like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. And then this clarity, honestly, over the last few months has just kind of set in of just like, narrow it the fuck down.
Right.
What the fuck do you want, Michela? Because I created like a dreams and goals list like 6 months ago and I was like, what? I don't even think you can fucking achieve this in a lifetime. Like you're crazy, bitch. And we're such big overachievers. Like I love being a dreamer. It's awesome. It keeps me like constantly just like getting out of the box and growing and
not stagnant here.
No, but yeah.
Other than the air in this house.
Mid 20s feels like
the water
a hug.
toilet.
Another time.
Oh God, we can't talk about that.
sorry. Trigger warning. Damn, that is really good. You just
refinement.
Spoke so much fucking wisdom on that. You put such good words into the early 20s. That's so intense. And also, guys, like, I just need to do like a quick shout out to us because like we're really young and like having these types of realizations, having these conversations, like feeling this assured. This is a blessing. This is like impressive.
This is incredible because our like parents' generation, they were not doing the type of work that we're doing.
This is why I'm not even going to say that actually. It's so important to have these realizations pre-children. And this can happen for 5-year-olds. You can be 4 years old meditating and you can calm your nervous system and be a child. You just have to be taught. And so like these things that we're learning is because of our experience and because of what we've been taught and experienced on our own. But like people can grasp this at any age. Yeah. And just like how you guys are saying, like I think some people will go all the way up into their 90s.
It's self-awareness. That's what it literally like comes
The new
back
generation
to.
will get it. But
I don't know. I think it's just like I think it's small percentage of people who even like care about this stuff. Cause like
I think it'll be more and more well known because you can't go back. Once you've gotten this open in your mind, unless if you have like a mental disorder, you cannot go back.
Well, so many people are just living unconsciously and they have these ideas that are so attached to like work, money, where there's like literally no room for self-improvement or self-discovery. And that's like
self-understanding.
That's what life is all about. Right. Discovering yourself and rediscovering.
Yes.
And people
You're not a mule.
People don't create the space to. And I think in your 20s, it's so fucking important to actually genuinely create the space to explore yourself. Like, what do I like? What are my hobbies? You have to explore all these different layers of yourself, which is why it's so confusing because it's like, whoa, like I can do whatever I want.
But I also understand people who like don't want to explore that.
Yeah, because there's certain types of people who don't want.
People haven't left.
Haven't left?
They haven't left.
Oh shit!
What?
I mean, the majority, like
not
leaving.
Okay,
yeah, we'll complete the sentences. Like people, like the majority of people in this country, like don't leave the city that they were born in. Like a very large
people
percentage.
Who are comfortable because they.
But is there something wrong with wanting to stay comfortable.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. No,
But if you want
it's a different
this,
path. Like I love this.
what we're
Like,
talking
this is
about,
exciting.
you have to get uncomfortable.
Well, because I'm just like sitting here thinking like, do you know how many people like, and how many of my like friends' parents or like my own parents are like now in their 50s having these realizations or deepening their
midlife
faith. Or,
crisis,
like,
bro.
I don't, yeah, the midlife crisis.
Dude,
You're so right.
I don't want to go through a fucking midlife crisis.
Like,
I hope this is the crisis.
You know what
right
it
now.
is?
Because this is the quarter life crisis.
Finally receiving what you always thought you
Sorry,
wanted.
guys, I screamed in the mic.
And it not being enough. You not finally getting instantaneous because when you're 50, you have the family, you have the car, you have the job, you're successful, you're not worried about money. Now what? You have every single thing you could have wished for and more. And you have nothing because you're not happy. You
But
have
it
not had the
also-
discovery.
It's also this like human desire though to always want something else. Like
going.
what's next? Like once you do like have these dreams and goals, it's like, wait, so once I say
human brain,
you've
bro.
reached it and your mind immediately is like, all right, what's the next goal? What's the next? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, I mean, once you are 50 and you have the family and you've traveled and you have nice car, nice house, whatever, it's like, I think at that point though, be fucking present with everything that you've created.
Well, guys,
You're forced to.
My parents' experience is so not that. My parents are in their 50s and 60s and being like, we don't have the cars, we don't have the home, we don't have the career, we don't have the retirement plan. They don't have fucking anything like to their name. And so in their experience right now, it's like, oh fuck, they could be like wallowing in all of that, which like my dad was going through that of just like spending year after year just like being a victim of being like, oh, these like the decisions I made in my 20s, like this is why I'm here today, like this is why I'm having this experience, like what is even the reason of like continuing to live, like just being. And there are the majority of people in this country that are in their 50s don't own homes, don't own these, aren't having being able to be like, oh yeah, what is life like? No, that's not what a lot of people are.
Well, essentially, yeah, it's just the opposite. They're still curious about what life is, but it's like, why worth it
what
instead
is worth living?
Right. So like this midlife crisis of like, I didn't get anything that I wanted. What the fuck am I doing
what now?
So it's like also this like self-discovery, and I'm so grateful. Yeah, so lucky in every way possible that we're doing this first, and. Nothing is right or wrong. It's just like, notice where you're at. Just do your best to try to figure like what's going on now. Like, do you want to stay here? Do you want to progress? Like,
damn, you're right. It is that I want to be having the crisis now. I don't want to be at 40 and 50 and being like, who am I? What do I believe? What happens after I die? Like, I don't want to be having all of those thoughts like back like then. I want to feel secure now.
I feel comfortable to do it now.
But also I think you can also like allow things to shift. Do you know what I mean? Like you can have your idea of this like set plan or goal or whatever, but I mean, dude, when we look back on like our goals and all that, like it's
from literally
I think the reason that we're so okay with this like
I think
shifting
okay
is because
change.
we know ourselves. We're like, we're gonna be able to handle whatever we get. We're gonna know that what we like is gonna change, what we desire is going to change, but we will be secure in ourselves. And I think that helps with, we're not going to change our minds as much as I think we would if we didn't know ourselves, because I was always like,
so indecisive. But now it seems like you're just like having you're able to better navigate.
Literally what you said. That's the best way to put it, is like the challenges don't get any easier, but like your understanding of them, your way of dealing with it does. Somehow, like you're like, oh, I've either done this before, or I felt this before,
like,
or
I've been here
I trust
before.
that I can handle it.
Yeah, I think that's why I've loved like how chaotic my 20s have been, and like literally this is all about just like
the chaos. The chaos is sometimes fun.
The chaos is a gift, bro. Like only
because
with
chaos leads to clarity. I'm sorry, but that's
chaos
just like how it is.
Transformation.
You kind of have to go through these like fucking really turbulent, rocky times to be like, oh wait, this is what I need to do.
And I think by stepping out of the box and deciding like, I am going to go move across the country, or I am going to go live in another I live in another country,
doing whatever the fuck you want,
decide to do that does put you in this space of like, oh shit, like life is challenging, like I'm being thrown like just so many different things, but that's gonna just produce resilience and that's just help you grow.
Strength. Well, you've said this before, Danielle, how like going to travel independently is a huge like way to prove to yourself and to others that I can do it. However the individual chooses to like prove that was a big thing for me traveling alone, and a big like lesson I had was I can fucking do it. And to everybody else that was seeing me travel with someone else is like, not that they gave a fuck, but I did. And I was like, okay, if I can take care of myself in another country by myself, I can take care of myself here. I can take care of myself anywhere. Like it was the first time that I trusted that I was fully capable. And yeah, the search for it. But I
really like that.
Yeah, you saying that about solo traveling was really helpful. Not that everyone needs to do that, but I think you should.
Yeah. Damn. I didn't exist until I was 22. we had some good quotes here.
Yeah. Danielle earlier said your 20s is like this itchy feeling, like you're just wanting something different, and you're just like literally like itching yourself. Like, itching for growth. What else is there out there? Yeah. Damn.
I love my 20s.
Oh my God. They're best years of my life.
Yeah. So 20s are great. Sometimes there's like moments where you're in the trenches and you want to end it all. But I was just there a few days ago, but like we're back.
She's like, it was really recent. I can feel it.
Yeah. I'm like still recovering, but we're fine. But yeah, I think 20s are the best and the most memorable time of your life.
People always say that.
Yeah.
Just don't expect too much from yourself is like the one thing I would say, because
lose the fucking expectations.
Yeah,
like, stop.
Of yourself and others. Like, don't think that you need to be a certain way or like know yourself this well in your 20s because you're turning 25 this year, and it's like I should know everything about myself.
Yeah.
Just like, I guess my biggest I guess suggestion with all of this is just like ask more questions. Be curious, ask yourself, ask others. Don't take anything personally, but just like ask about yourself.
Like where am I at?
What do I like?
This?
Yeah. Do I want to be X type of person?
And like be open to self-reflection. Like
I think that's our biggest thing that we promote through this platform is just the beauty of self-reflection. Because like we're all, and that's why I just love
yourself is so cool.
I love how much we're all just like on the same page with that. And I love how many people have just like reached out to all of us, just like telling us how much our conversations have just like helped you
inspiration,
like, or like just expand your mind a little bit, or just like try to understand yourself more. Like that is all so much more cool.
Because we can get like so closed-minded, like in this like box, but then when you hear other people's perspectives and knowledge and just their personal experiences, it's like, oh, like I just learned something from this, and like I can take what I need from it, you know?
Or like that really doesn't resonate with me, so like the way that I think about something is how I think about it and how I want to accept it. And that's why I love listening to podcasts, or I love like taking
just listening to people's minds.
Yeah, the way people think. So thanks.
But yeah, speaking on that real quick, we would love more feedback, if anything. Like if you guys have anything to say about your own personal life that you just want to share, or like have topic ideas or like disagreements, honestly, I love being told no, that's fucking wrong. I love being like having to challenge what I believe, because it's so relevant. And like you said, things change all the time. I could change my mind tomorrow. All this could be wrong. Not really, but either way, I would love more feedback, like comments, messages, email.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll do our best to put links, but
we'd love to make this more interactive.
Like just how we're talking here, I want to talk with everybody.
Yeah, we really want to open this up for like everybody to join in, because it's so fun to talk about it.
Cute. Well, on my last note, I think I just have to say, for your 20s, trust the fucking process. I think trust should be the mantra for all of your 20s.
I love
TRUST.
Thank
Trust.
you for spelling it out.
I've literally been saying like trust. I've been saying trust to myself like 50 times a day.
Huge lesson for us also in the last couple weeks too. Just like trust.
Yeah, trust the process.
Let it be.
All right, gang. Well, now we're just mumbling. So thanks for coming on this trip with us. Thanks. We love you so much. Until the next one, like, comment, subscribe at Talking Mushroomies.
Bye, guys.
Bye.